My goodness, let's see. You're not pissing blood, you're not vomiting your guts out. Both legs are in place and they seem to be holding you upright. Congratulations. It looks like you'll pull through. And now you'll excuse me, but I have other miracles to accomplish, and not much time to devote to people in your condition.
Take it easy there, Doc. I'm with the Freeborn Blades, not one of your refugees.
You could be Blackstorm himself for all I care. Now get out of my way, I have things to do.
Here we go. Another one of these hick refugees. There's nothing for you here.
Call me a hick one more time, and I'll be using your face as an anvil.
Let's all remain calm, shall we? Please forgive my error. With all this commotion and all the thankless tasks I find myself confronted with, I often find my attention to detail slips. So, what can I do for you?
I need more info about Valvanor.
And you have decided that I have a sympathetic face. It's the story of my life. Talent worthy of a king's ransom, but surrounded by cretins who only seek that which is free.
What can you tell me about the steward?
Oh, don't expect me to say anything bad about Bertolf Chambriad. I'm not always in agreement with him, but I can see that he knows his business. And he keeps the village relatively safe.
What can you tell me about the steward?
Oh, don't expect me to say anything.
What can you tell me about the steward?
Oh, don't expect...
It's not often you see an elf blending in with other cultures. Are there many of you here in Valvanor?
To my knowledge, I was the only one. That is, until Prince Arundel and his acolyte arrived. Does that pose a problem for you?
Not at all.
Well, it does for me. His Majesty the Prince of Imbeciles is going to bring us nothing but trouble.
Do you know the woman who runs the healing house?
Oh, but of course. She's all one hears about lately. Everyone here will tell you that she's a courageous woman, fighting a noble battle. Everyone but me. The woman's insane. There are already far too many mouths to feed in this camp. Clearly, she's fully aware of this, yet she stubbornly insists on making things worse.
And the Red Scribes? Know anything about them?
No, certainly. A boring bunch of fusspots, spreading science and preaching the good word while never suspecting that anyone might see through their little game.
Our game? Well, pray tell, give us the details. Please, give us the benefit of your extensive knowledge.
I don't pretend to know about all their little plots. I spend very little time with them, and frankly, I couldn't possibly care less about them. But I am fully aware that pretty speeches serve no better purpose than manipulating minds. They're nothing more than noisy masks behind which hides a reality that is far uglier. The more the melody is sweet, the better it distracts you. And is there anything more disgustingly melodious than the discourse of a red scribe?
When it comes to disgusting discourse, you seem to be something of an expert.
Let's talk about something else. I'll be back.
That's an excellent idea.
Swamp is our best defense. Happily, the wildlife are just as keen on attacking the Deadwalkers as they are the villagers. But the situation here in Valvanor grows worse daily. And each new wave of refugees increases the risk of drawing unwanted attention to this jungle.
No Ice Lord scouts who find this village will ever escape to tell the tale. Of that, I can assure you. Also, my men are reinforcing your defenses. Forgive me for saying, but you have some serious weak points. Especially the defenses around that refugee camp of yours.
The arrival of the Freeborn Blades and the Red Scribes has greatly improved our chances of survival, Captain. Believe me when I say that we are most grateful to have you with us. Needless to say, your men and the Red Scribes are welcome and free to go where they will. But as for any other newcomers, our gates are closed. You must understand that our food stores are as limited as our abilities to defend our village. Until you arrived, we had but one person who was even vaguely capable of treating our injured, and the case of Prince Orendil was completely beyond her skills. And there is this beast story, doubtless another fairy tale, the fruit of an alcohol-addled brain. Nonetheless, several of the Watch have gone missing. Something hidden in these swamps is causing these disappearances, but we cannot risk sacrificing any more of the few men remaining to us on sending patrols. Large groups entail moving chrysalids that are unmanageable. The others, quite simply, do not return.
Silence.
If I were to listen to everyone, I would need 10 times the number of men I have to verify the truth of every tale.
Enough. You must aid me to do this. I am not able to do that. Your endless wailings are unbearable.
In the name of... Vulcan?
But, by the gods, man, what is...
This world is condemned. The cold hath invaded its ground, its souls, and its heart. Yet here you stand, weaving your limbs like fish taken from the water. Miserably shuffling about to conserve the illusion of warmth and life, and not feel the passing of your last breath, while I must endure your wailings and lamentations. Pitiful.
Vulcan, stop this nonsense immediately.
It is not he who speaks. All doth fall to ruin about you. Yet you still bewail your loose bowels and vomitings. You cannot vanquish your dead walkers, no more than you can vanquish their necromancer masters. They draw their power from the very heart of the world. They drink it, they suckle it dry. Your only chance to cleanse what your own hath corrupted is to go to the World Heart and liberate it from its servitude.
The World Heart is a myth, a forgotten fairy tale, no more real than dragons or dwarves.
A myth. Continue hiding behind thy puny barricades, and thou wilt soon join thy myths and fairy tales.
Cease your pretense. I know you have returned to consciousness.
What the hell happened? I was just listening to the steward blabbing away with the captain, and then...
And then you lost control.
I don't know, it's like something in my head zapped me so it could use my mouth. But I was still there. Still thinking what I was saying.
This is not the first time you have felt this presence manifest itself.
No. No, it's been there since the temple. It's also in my dreams. I think...
Interesting. It would seem that your body is host to some other entity. And it is clearly a spirit of fire.
No kidding. I got a demon in my head.
Something of the kind. In truth, I could not say what it is. Not yet, at least.
Don't make me laugh. After all, it's your disciples that let this thing out of its cage, right?
That has nothing to do with it. Do you have any idea of the implications of this incident?
What? Just because I said some weird shit? Believe me, it's not the first time that's happened.
Obviously, you haven't understood. The thing that is inside you, it wishes you ill. There is not enough space inside you for two souls. That demon wants your body. It will control you more and more until it has replaced you completely.
Ha! Thou thinkest I crave the body of a mortal? I am a prisoner here. My place is in the world heart.
It will not hesitate to lie to you, to tell you that which you wish to hear, so that you will allow it to consume you.
I never asked for this cage. I never asked to be forced to hear thy every thought. It is I who have been invaded.
It speaks to you. Do not listen to it. Cast it from you. If you do not resist, it will crush your soul.
Hey, take it easy. One day at a time, okay? I'm gonna take a walk.
The Order of the Freeborn Blades is of great repute, and the mercenary does honor to its name. The mercenary's powers are both astonishing and fascinating. The knight would like to duel with the mercenary, that he may judge the mercenary's strength.
Sure, I can never turn down a good fight. But maybe we should take it outside if we don't want to break everything in here.
The knight is honored, and bows to his adversary's wisdom.
Wait for me here, Sybil. I won't be long.
The knight hopes that his adversary will not hold back his blows.
Oh, you can count on it.
The knight has never before battled an adversary with such power, and he believes that he could be that which is needed to change the course of this war.
You fight pretty good yourself. Where did you learn your moves? I can't believe you learned to fight like that in this backwater.
The knight has traveled far and fought many battles. He has only lived in his village for a short time.
What are you doing in the middle of these swamps when you could be making a difference on the battlefield?
The knight has fought a great many battles, but he feels he can be more useful protecting those who have nothing left.
I have to go. I'm glad we could test each other's mettle. It was fun.
Before his adversary rushes off to fight other battles, the knight has a question for him. He wishes to know if the Freeborn Blades would like him to join them.
I'm not the one who decides who joins the company, but I can ask the captain for you.
He has thought long on it, and wishes it would be so.
Well, that's great. I'll ask him, but I can't promise you anything.
Mr. Vulcan, what brings you here?
The captain wants me to help your village. You got a job I can do?
With our shortages of food and fighting men, our worn-out equipment and the growing lines at the healing house, I cannot deny our village is sorely in need of help. Sadly, I fear that these are not the sort of problems you're used to dealing with, unless I'm much mistaken.
Maybe I'll surprise you. So what's the problem with the healing house?
Quite simply, Mirana cannot keep up. She spends every waking minute giving out supplies to the refugees and refuses to admit that she cannot help everyone. She thinks she's fooling me. I have heard rumors that her food stock is running low. Unsurprisingly, the crowds outside are becoming restless. I believe they wish to continue handing out our food reserves as though they were unlimited. This is not the case, and thus, it is not an option.
So, you want someone to put her down?
Why, I never suggested any such thing. I just wish she would see reason, for all our sakes. But I have asked nothing of you. I was merely answering your question.
Your guards... How can I put this? At first, I thought they were disobeying orders. Now I think maybe they don't even understand them. If you're stupid and incompetent, you should be digging turnips, not taking care of security.
You're beginning to worry me. Is it really that bad?
Are you kidding me? The state of their weapons is enough to make you cry. Maybe they'd be good for splitting logs.
Personally, I'm not capable of judging the aptitude of our sentries, but their poor results speak for themselves. Doubtless, you should share your observations with Mason, the Chief of the Watch. I should warn you, however, that he is of a somewhat stubborn nature.
Wouldn't be the first I've seen. I need the reports about this beast that attacked the villagers.
I fear I am unable to be of help. I'm still not entirely convinced that it even exists. All I know is that several villagers have vanished. One villager is at present in the doctor's care, following a supposed encounter with the said beast. These swamps are crawling with dangers. There is nothing to suggest anything out of the ordinary. The refugees are always inventing horror stories in an attempt to force us to open our gates and let them inside.
It might be worth checking it out. You said you lost one of your patrols, right?
That is so. You should speak with Randval. He was most anxious to go out and hunt the beast down, but we needed him here. Now that we have more able bodies to guard our gates, I imagine he would be keen to pick up the scent once more.
I've got a few questions I'd like to ask about this village.
I imagine there are few who are better placed than myself to answer them.
How come it's you that's running the show here?
What a question. Because, my friend, someone has to. You imagine I'm doing this for my amusement, perhaps? Doubtless you wish it was someone else. The Chief of the Watch has trouble organizing 3 peasants. Our dear apothecary is evidently keen to give succor to any and every poor soul who wanders into the healing house. And regardless of your reputation, the people of this village would never trust outsiders such as yourself, or even the Red Scribes. So yes, it is indeed I who command here. The one-time steward of the hunting lodge of Valvanor, now leader of this shithole.
Well, hell. I'm glad we got that cleared up. What can you tell me about the people of Valvanor?
Before the war, there were just a few families here. Hunters and craftsmen, mostly. These days, they survive as best they can, husbanding their animals and digging up the puny vegetables they've managed to grow. Few dare to venture outside the walls. These woods are fruitful, but more perilous than ever before, and most of these folk know nothing of arms.
But you've got your guards.
They hardly qualify as an armed militia. Of the few that remain, most are sturdy farmers whom we have entrusted with some kind of weapon. Most of the real fighters left the village as soon as war broke out. The others died while out on patrol. The only one left here with any real experience is Mason, the head of the guard. Sadly, the man is a walking beer keg, who could not give a dog's fart for what his men are about.
Who are all those refugees that you're keeping outside the walls?
The war with the Ice Lords has driven many from their homes and villages. Alas, it would seem that some of them found their way here. I have tried to accommodate as many as we can, and provide as much comfort as possible, but I fear we can do little more. We are reaching the end of our reserves, and relations between the refugees and the villagers are becoming strained.
The refugees can't all be dead weight. Some of them have got to be useful.
Oh, if only. Believe me, I would be the first to welcome them. These peasants have been fleeing from town to town and from camp to camp for months. The best and strongest of them perished in battles, somewhere along the way. I must deal with the leftovers. I put the biggest of them in the watch, but they are of little use.
The healing house. It's a pretty good thing for your village, huh?
If you say so. As time has gone by, the Healing House has drawn refugees to the swamps in ever greater numbers, and dissuaded some malingerers from returning to their families. When it opened its doors a year ago, the sense of relief was palpable. It was run by a couple, an elf doctor and his apothecary wife, who clearly were no strangers to the healing arts. Thanks to them, we were spared many plagues. But as the war dragged on, the endless tide of refugees continued to flow through our gates until we could harbor no more. 6 months ago, our worst nightmares were fulfilled. Our elf doctor fell ill and died. Since then, Mirana has soldiered on without rest, alone. I do not know how much longer she can keep going. The refugees just keep on coming. And I fear that poor woman is beginning to crumble under the strain. It's not surprising.
I need a blacksmith. Do you have one here?
With none more qualified, I asked Asiel to take over the village forge. I suppose I should warn you, he's quite a tricky character. He has a huge ego and is stubborn as an ox. Before the war, he was a sort of artist. He crafted jewelry and sculptures from metal. Despite running the forge, one could hardly call him a blacksmith. But he's the only one here who had even the vaguest notion of how to repair a shovel or straighten a blade.
Let's talk about work. We'll talk again later.
The knight heard talk of a troubling event that happened during the meeting between the mercenary and the steward.
Yeah, the short version is that I have a demon living inside of me.
A demon? The knight has never heard of such a creature. Should he be worried?
Don't worry about it. The thing inside of me allows me to control fire. Could be pretty useful against the Deadwalkers, huh?
Evidently. But is there not a risk that this creature will devour the mercenary?
A risk? Not yet. It needs me, and I have it under control. Ranville, I need you. Come with me.
The knight is proud to be of service.
The mercenary salutes you, knight. I have a few questions I need to ask you. You mentioned the Order of the Ember Knights. What is that?
It is the order that a knight belongs to. They are the surviving warriors and honored soldiers of other orders that were lost during this war.
Oh, so it's kind of the Order of the Orphan Knights.
This name does not sound well to his ears.
Right. So you haven't always been an Ember Knight?
No. He was first a defender of the Algander Islands. Then he was a Templar of the Order of Burgeons, and then a Brother of the Rock, and then a Summer Tracker.
So all of those orders have been lost. That must have been hard.
He has lost many valorous companions in battle, and his heart is heavy with scars.
I'll bet. So what is the creed of the Ember Knights?
The knight has long searched for the answer. Now he knows it. To seek a glorious death and carry as many enemies as possible away with him.
That's kind of depressing. If you follow me, we should be able to find a chance for you to get your beautiful death. Just try not to commit suicide at the first available opportunity.
The knight will wait for this moment.
So what did you abandon when you entered into the Order of the Ember Knights?
The knight has already said he does not wish to speak of this.
This could be the last chance you get to talk about it.
It is true that tomorrows are becoming less likely. But the abandonment of the past means the forgetting of it. And it is often painful to dig through memories.
That's what you claim, but I can tell you're dying to talk about it.
Very well. Know then that the Knight once had a family.
I suppose they must be dead. I'm sorry for your loss.
It was long ago. 15 years have passed since his wife and his 2 daughters were taken from him.
The Deadwalker army?
Yes. They were among the first victims when the Ice Lords attacked the Algander Islands. They were thought to be safe with the other women, far behind the front lines. But the Deadwalkers broke through our lines and stole away the innocents. The Knight searched the enemy lines for days, but when he found them, he had to fight what the sorcerers had created from his wife and his children. A dread creature, multiple and monstrous. This was the most difficult fight of all his life.
Let's change the subject.
Mr. Vulcan.
Let's talk about what... We'll talk again.
Vulcan, you must help me. The prince is dying.
Well, I'm happy to see that my talents as a doctor are finally being recognized.
There's no doubt an explosion would cure him of all his ills forever. But I was actually thinking about your connections with the Red Scribes. If you could speak to them, it would save me having the prince's death on my conscience.
I wouldn't exactly call myself a friend of theirs. But yeah, I can always give it a try. I need your expertise. Will you come with me?
Of course I will. Lead the way.
Do you have any idea how to wake the Elf Prince up?
Unfortunately, I don't. I think I've tried just about every remedy I know, but nothing works.
He looks pretty solid. Sleep will bring his strength back, and he may end up waking on his own.
Let's hope so. But to be honest, I'm worried about his condition.
I'm not going to sit here and do nothing while we wait to see if he's going to wake up or not. There has to be something we can do.
Well, there is a formula I haven't tried yet because it's very complex, and I'm missing a key ingredient.
What do you need?
A very virulent poison secreted by the Chrysalid Queen. But be careful you don't mix them up with the ones you usually see. I wanted to go looking for them myself, but the villagers stopped me. They say they're really dangerous. It seems they can be found along the road we took to get here. And apparently, they only come out at night.
I'll get you some. I'll be going now.